Hey yo, what's good you guys? It's Boomer and Jerk watching Bali Star, and today we're just getting into the victims of Monkey D. Luffy. You feel me? So yeah man, we gonna go over the villains Luffy has taken down over the years, and yeah, let's get straight on into it. Make sure to leave a like, support the video if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new, so that we join up with the all-star gang up in this thing. Let's get straight on into it, man. Let's go.
Monkey D. Luffy has been throwing hands and catching bodies ever since he first began his journey to become Pirate King. And if you think the second part of this statement is an exaggeration, just watch to the end of this video, because I promise you Luffy has taken lives, as well as responsible for several revolutions. Dragon would be proud. Today, we're going to be taking a deep dive at the before and after of people who found their way onto the rubbery Rocky's bad side, and how Luffy's many victims impacted the entire story, including the end game of One Piece. The first of Luffy's opponents that I feel had a major butterfly effect on the story is the iconic genius jester Buggy the Clown. Although we now know that Buggy has one of the most interesting and lore-filled backstories in One Piece, with connections to Shanks, Whitebeard, and even Gold Roger, when Luffy first met Buggy in Orangetown, he was just another East Blue pirate terrorizing a small town. His bounty at the time was only 15 million. For comparison, that is only twice as much as the bandits' bounty who laughed at Shanks in Makino's bar. The Straw Hats were still in the early stages of their crew's formation, with it only consisting of Luffy, Zoro, and Nami, but they were still able to defeat the Buggy pirates and liberate Orangetown. This sets off a frustrating chain of events for Buggy, as the whole reason he set up shop in the East Blue was because it was the weakest of the four seas, and so he could fly under the radar and do his pirate thing in peace, which is honestly kinda understandable, after we found out later on that Buggy grew up chaotically on the war-torn Grand Line as a member of the Pirate King's crew, and that he is also basically brothers with the famous pirate emperor Red-Haired Shanks. But after Roger was executed, as they was both in tears, Shanks
I just thought of something, since, and I'm pretty sure everybody that watches this video is a One Piece fan. I'm pretty sure that Shanks, since he just said East Blue is like the weakest of the four seas, and Shanks is his pirate crew, like, not his pirate crew, but his fleet, his fleet consists of mostly like weak pirates, if you read the manga, then like, for those that don't read the manga, y'all watching, y'all just heard me say that, y'all did hear me say that, or just skip ahead, but for Shanks' pirates to like be a weak pirate fleet, I'm like, oh shit, I just made the connection, since, does he also protect one of the four seas, which is the East Blue, which is why he goes there and he sees Luffy in them, like, or was there a reason why he went to that specific island in the East Blue? I don't know, I could be wrong, but I just made the connection, like, since East Blue is the weakest of the four seas, and Shanks, like, I thought he would go there a lot, again, I think, go see Luffy and all that, like, is he there to protect, like, also, like, the weakest of the four seas, as he is, like, as he does for his pirate fleet, which is, like, mostly all weak pirates that he just protects, like, he protects the weak, I mean, obviously, but I'm just like, so it's not just his pirate fleet, you feel me?
Buggy to join his crew, but misunderstanding Shanks' ambition, he refuses and flees to the East Blue, where he could easily have some authority as a decently powerful Devil Fruit user, and also so he could avoid all the terrifying things he dealt with while being born and raised on the Grand Line, like constant battles with the Whitebeard pirates, the Rock pirates, and the Marines on Roger's rise to Pirate King. And honestly, his plan was working well too, till our favorite straw-hatted pirate messed up his whole vibe. After his defeat, Buggy leaves Orangetown to get revenge on Straw Hats, which he almost actually accomplishes, as he was milliseconds away from executing Luffy in Lockdown. Ironically, at the same location his former captain was executed. But through what I can only describe as divine intervention or dragon intervention, Luffy is saved, Buggy is struck by lightning, and from there their stories seemingly go in different directions, until they team up and Impel Down. Impel Down is still one of my favorite arcs. Buggy and Luffy's chemistry is peak comedy. Then next, during Marineford, he actually saves Luffy by being the one to fly him to law so he can escape. even though it was mainly because Shanks manipulated him with the promise of a treasure map. But if you ask me, Buggy knew the truth the whole time. Buggy's relationship to Roger and Shanks gets exposed to the whole world by the Marines. And this is also the first arc that really showcases Buggy's true power as the unintentional god of charisma hockey. As he wins over the prisoners.
I'm pretty sure Buggy wasn't a Pre-Shichibukai then, you know what I'm saying? Because I was like, why does he have a Marine pirate hat?
True power as the unintentional god of charisma hockey. As he wins over the prisoners that escaped down, and then after the time skip,
Buggy
his new cloud,
discovered a new
he
hockey.
now holds the title as a warlord of the sea. Through a series of events, though, the government decides to abolish the system and launches sneak attacks on the former warlords. But thanks to the Buggy effect, he continues to fall upward into ruling over the world's strongest swordsman Mihawk and the Machiavellian genius Crocodile as the leader of the Cross Guild. This new alliance will pull off the biggest Uno reverse card the Marines have ever seen. But there will be more on that later. Naturally, next, Buggy becomes the Emperor of the Sea. If Buggy isn't stopped at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes the next Pirate King before Luffy, if not just momentarily. After all, the last time we saw Buggy, he declared that it's time for the Cross Guild to go take the One Piece. Now keep in mind that none of this would have happened if Buggy and Luffy's first encounter was somehow avoided. He would still be chilling in the East Blue. Instead, Luffy was the catalyst that forced Buggy into his glorious fate as a frontrunner for the One Piece. But Buggy isn't the only.
So he secretly has Luffy to thank for that, bro.
Luffy defeated that caused him trouble down the line. Arlong the Saul. Let's be honest, people into his glorious fate as a frontrunner for the One Piece. But Buggy isn't the only enemy Luffy defeated that caused him trouble down the line. Arlong the Saul. Let's be honest, people have tried to power scale Arlong out of being one of the great villains of One Piece. Zawater! But when we first met Arlong, he was by far the most terrifying antagonist we have met yet. And in my opinion, he would go on to be one of the best written. In terms of his motivations and what his backstory added to the world building of One Piece, with all the Fishman lore and stuff. Arlong is a Saw Shark Fishman, hence the name. He is the captain of the Arlong Pirates and a former member of the Sun Pirates. After the death of his former captain, Fisher Tiger, via the humans betraying him, Arlong formed an intense hatred for humans, which eventually led to his arrest by the Marines and being tossed and impaled down. But he would receive a pardon thanks to his ex-comrade Jinbei becoming one of the warlords of the sea. Him being set free is the event that would lead Arlong to set his sights on conquering the East Blue. He settled on Konami Island, creating an apartheid regime and racketeering the local population. This leads to our favorite navigator, Nami Swan, getting tangled up into this situation as a child, leading to her traumatizing backstory. Arlong would not allow Nami's foster mother and manipulate her into being his subordinate, so he could take advantage of her cartography skills as he plans to use her maps to conquer the world seas and the humans, of course. Nami suffered for 8 years under his control, leading her to temporarily betraying the Straw Hats, even though she thought she was doing the right thing. But Luffy, being Luffy, discovered the truth, attacked and defeated the Arlong Pirates with the help of Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp, which led to the
Hold on. Let me see that iconic scene again, bro.
She was doing the right thing. But Luffy, being Luffy, discovered the truth, attacked and defeated the Arlong Pirates with the help of Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp, which led to the iconic
read the manga, you know.
Arlong Park. This was a very impressive feat for the Straw Hats, as Arlong had the highest bounty in the East Blue and was scarily strong. One of the wildest parts of this arc for me is when Arlong reopened Zoro's scar on his chest, exposing Mihawk's signature to all of Arlong Park. After their defeat, with the exception of Hachan,
wait, what? There's more than that? Wait, hold up.
When Arlong Park. This was a very impressive feat for the Straw Hats, as Arlong had the highest bounty in the East Blue and was scarily strong. One of the wildest parts of this arc for me is when Arlong reopened Zoro's scar on his chest, exposing Mihawk's signature to all of Arlong Park. After their defeat, with the exception of Hachan, all of the Arlong pirates are arrested by the Marines and sent to Impel Down. Though probably not as deep down as level 6, otherwise we would have seen them during the Impel Down arc. Though Arlong isn't super relevant in recent arcs, he does cause a chain of events that cause trouble for the Straw Hats that we cover later in this video. But I do think it's important to mention that none of this would have happened if Jinbei didn't use his position as a warlord to get Arlong out of prison. I love Jinbei, and he even does apologize to Nami for this, which she accepts. But a large part of the fanbase still thinks that Nami let him off too easy. But let me know in the comments what you think about this. Next, we have the Desert King, Crocodile.
I'm like, whatever happened to Arlong like, I mean, he doesn't get free with the other prisoners and stuff, man. Because, like, of course, down the line, you know what I'm saying, we see the chain of events he caused, but, you know what I'm saying, we don't see him. So it's like, bro, I'm pretty sure he's okay, but if Buggy could, you know what I'm saying, take Luffy's beatings and press on, I'm like, where's Arlong? Like, he didn't escape. Like, you know, he didn't turn up in Fishman Island. Like, bro.
But for me, it's hard to even call Crocodile a victim, as he just radiates cool and never shows weakness. He gives off James Bond villain vibes, and is still one of my favorite characters in the series. If I've learned anything in One Piece, it's never count out Crocodile, because the Sandman is always plotting his get back. At the beginning of the Arabasta saga, Luffy stumbles into a three-way civil war in the nation. After befriending Miss Wednesday, a named agent of Roadworks, a secret criminal syndicate created by the warlord Crocodile, who is secretly causing and capitalizing off the conflict of Arabasta, to gain control of the country and to discover the location of one of the ancient weapons. Miss Wednesday is later revealed to actually be Bibi, the princess of Arabasta. Her and Luffy's relationship leads to the Straw Hats being at odds with Crocodile, who is by far the strongest and smartest villain the Straw Hats have ever faced off with. He actually manages to beat Luffy several times, literally had our boy leaking at the end of his hook. Luffy's fights with Crocodile taught him a lot about needing to get stronger and how complicated the pirate world can be, both politically and competition-wise. Luffy eventually achieves victory over Crocodile and reestablishes the rightful rule of the country, but this unfortunately forces Bibi to not join the Straw Hats crew, which was very disappointing to many fans at the time because most thought her joining was a sure thing. Bibi decided she doesn't want to abandon her country before she helps rebuild it. This leads to another iconic moment in the series, where the Straw Hats raise their arms with an X on them, letting Bibi know she will always be a Straw Hat in their hearts. Then we get surprised that Nico Robin is actually the one who's going to join the crew, so it wasn't a total loss. Many people forget that Robin was actually an enemy at first. This was Luffy's first major victory.
But after that was so unexpected, bro. It was like, what? Ain't that? You know what I'm saying? It was like that. It was like, ain't that? What? Crocodile's like freaking lackey or something, you feel me? I mean, I didn't watch a lot of the episodes of Alabasta, you know what I'm saying? Honestly, this is, I think, where I stopped watching One Piece, you know what I'm saying? I was watching less and less of One Piece. This is where I actually stopped, because I stopped and I started up again once the pre-time skip happened. So, yeah. I missed everything. No, I think I watched pieces of, Impel Down. No, I didn't.
And the one that earned him a bounty of 100 million berries. We don't see Crocodile again.
I watched a lot of the Impel Down, though.
But Oda did give us a short cover story that gives a little bit of the background of how Crocodile ended up in prison. In Miss Golden Week's operation, Meet Roadworks, we see, for starters, Crocodile was put in a regular prison before he was taken to Impel Down. We see him in a cell with Mr. 1 and Mr. 4, but then Miss Golden Week tries breaking them all out. She succeeded, but Crocodile decided to stay behind because he didn't feel like escaping. However, while Miss Golden Week was escaping with the others, she uses her powers to make Crocodile appear as the Pirate King, which was a very sentimental moment for him and us, because Crocodile was definitely going to be sent to Impel Down, so his dreams of becoming the Pirate King for real was effectively over. For me, this added a lot of depth to Crocodile's character. He really has dreamed of being the Pirate King since he was young. We've since even found out that he was at Roger's execution. And I'm gonna keep it real, he puts in way more effort and thought into pirating than most of the pirates we see. Following this, Crocodile is sent to Impel Down together with Mr. 1, Mr. 2, and Mr. 3. Then during the Impel Down arc, he joins forces with Luffy, escapes, and goes on to participate in the Paramount War. We won't be getting into the specifics of the war, but when it's all said and done, Crocodile escapes together with Mr. 1, his right-hand man, but not before trying to get his get back on Whitebeard. Crow really isn't scared of nobody. 3 weeks later, we see him on an unidentified island. Crocodile comments on what Luffy and Jinbei did and prepares to go to the New World. Flash forward to post-time skip.
Wait, what?
Crow really isn't scared of nobody. 3 weeks later, we see him on an unidentified island. Crocodile comments on what Luffy and Jinbei did and prepares to go to the New World. Flash forward to post-time skip, and most recently, we find out that Crocodile has been plotting this genius plan to take over the seas and fend off the Marines. He recruits Mihawk by saying that the two are very similar when it comes to being careful about who to trust. He also calls Mihawk the man who used to be called the Marine Hunter, which fits perfectly into his plan of placing bounties on the heads of Marines, like they do with pirates. This would cause a major disturbance in the whole status quo. He would need a lot of berries to accomplish this plan, so he pulls up on the now warlord Buggy to collect the debt Buggy owes him for loaning him the berries to start his company, Buggy's Delivery, a pirate missionary group. Crocodile winds up saving Buggy from the Marines' attack on the former warlords that we mentioned earlier, but Buggy doesn't have his money. So Buggy, being as clever as always, offers him use of all of the resources he has acquired through his company. Buggy's Delivery already had a massive infrastructure in place and connections to thousands of pirates and criminals. Crocodile begrudgingly accepts, and Buggy is supposed to be working for Crocodile since the whole cross-guild idea was Crocodile's plan to begin with. But of course, Buggy's subordinates are so loyal they couldn't bring themselves to not put Buggy in the center of the cross-guild posters, and because they had already sent them out, the Marines think Buggy is the leader of the cross guild, with the former warlord
That type of
and
shit
the world's
reminds me of
strongest
that
swordsman
Nettie. I don't know
seemingly
why.
working under him. The Marines
Seen him
basically
run up
have
like
no
that.
choice
I'm
but to
like,
make the new group an emperor-level crew. So because it seems to be working for Croc's overall goal, and Buggy has the company's complete loyalty, Crocodile and Mihawk are kind of forced to accept how things fell, but not before roughing Buggy up a little bit. Next, we learn just how successful Crocodile's idea is. The Cross Guild has upset the entire balance of the One Piece world's powers. Even some of the civilians are opting to hunt Marines to get the bounty on their heads. We get a glimpse of just how much things have changed. When the Honorable T-Bone was not alive by the same poverty-stricken people he was trying to help, so that they could collect the large bounties offered for a Vice Admiral. Our next victim, Bellamy the hyena, has one of the saddest stories in One Piece, as it just feels like he is always making the wrong decision. And even though a lot of it is his own fault, I can't help but to feel bad for him. Look, I don't think anyone would disagree that when we first met Bellamy, he was trash. There was nothing we wanted more than for Luffy to gum beat his ass. He publicly humiliated both Luffy and Zoro. That acted as an allegory for Shanks not fighting back against the bandits to protect Makino's barge. Zoro innately understood Luffy's reasoning, but Nami not so much. She just wanted them to fold Bellamy like she knew they could. At this time, Bellamy was so full of himself after defeating some slightly notable pirates recently, and he mistakenly thought that Luffy's bounty was less than his, making him easy prey, but not knowing it was actually double of his, with Luffy's bounty recently rising to 100 million berries after taking down a warlord. Bellamy was also riding the high of being
That was
able
the
to
ultimate disrespect I'm seeing now, bro. Just him not even wanting to fight you because he sees you. Well, of course, Luffy don't see that, but, you know what I'm saying, from the outside looking in, you know what I'm saying, from a egotistical perspective, you know what I'm saying, it's like, you can look at it, I'm not going to fight you. Like, you can hit me all you want. I'm not going to fight you because I don't want to embarrass you in front of your crew, my boy. You feel me? So, you know, I'll let you get your licks in, but I'm going to walk away and I'm going to take on bigger fish. You feel me? I only raise my hands to bigger fish. And once homie see that, and be like, what, he actually had more than me? That motherfucker looked down on me. Like,
connected to his Idol's pirate crew, Doflamingo Don Quixote, after begging Dofi to let him join. Dofi did agree to let him fly his flag, but informed Bellamy that if he joined, defeat would not be tolerated. Later, Luffy's pacifist vibes go out the window when Bellamy's crew hurt friends of the Straw Hats, Cricket and his bros. They also took their gold, unknowingly breaking Luffy's zero-tolerance rule when it comes to messing with his friends. Whether you're in the right or the wrong, hurt Luffy's friends and it's all smoke from there. This is the ideology he inherited from Shanks. It goes something like this. You can pour drinks on me, you can throw food at me, heck, you can even spit on me, but good reason or not, nobody hurts a friend. And when they finally fought, all it took was one punch from Luffy to literally turn Bellamy's reality upside down. Upside down. He was also so adamant that Sky Island doesn't exist, and how Luffy is a clown for even thinking so. But then he got his ass beat. Then the very next day, Bellamy not only hears the Golden Bell, he also sees Luffy's overwhelming shadow radiating in the skies above him. Luffy both destroyed him physically and mentally, as Bellamy had a self-realization that it was his own ideology that was clownish. His tragic defeat would only be made worse after Dofi shows up on the island to remind the Bellamy pirates that he said defeat would not be tolerated. Dofi would go on to use his devil-fruit powers to control one of Bellamy's crew members, forcing them to fight each other. We kind of thought this was it for Bellamy, but later we learned that he not only survived the encounter, but actually visited Sky Island himself. But unfortunately, he was his crew's only survivor. He brought back Doflamingo, a stolen pillar from the island, in order to redeem himself, which sorta works. Post-time skip, Bellamy has now dedicated his entire self to Doflamingo, and even joins the Dressrosa tournament because he has told if he wins, he could become an official member of the Don Quixote family, showcasing how much admiration he still holds for Doflamingo even after the events of Jaya. This tournament is where he runs into Luffy again, and states that he is a changed man and would never laugh at him again. Bellamy has lost much of his arrogance and gained a cold, calm demeanor. He no longer mocks people, but does still have a fondness for fighting. The most unexpected change in Bellamy's personality came in his newfound honor code. He was disgusted by the fact that Tank had accepted a bribe, and after his match told Luffy that by cheering him on, he had crushed his pride. But what truly showed how much he had reformed was when he was reluctant to fulfill Doflamingo's order to not allow Luffy. After losing the tournament to the King, reluctant to fulfill Doflamingo's order to not allow Luffy. After losing the tournament to the King Punch, he thought that his chances of becoming a Don Quixote family member was officially over, until he received a letter from Dofi directing him to assassinate Luffy. In exchange, he will be granted an officer position in the Crown family, his one true dream. This decision tore Bellamy's mind apart, but he was never even given a chance to make a choice, as Dofi would order one of his officers, Dillinger, to take Bellamy's life, due to his lack of confidence in him. Luckily, the glorious Bartolomeo would come to his rescue. After he was saved, the stubborn and broken Bellamy decided to confront Dofi about his betrayal. This led to Luffy being forced into a rematch with Bellamy. For most of the fight, Bellamy was being controlled by Doflamingo's Neverfoot ability, but Dofi would release him at a certain point, being confident in the decision Bellamy would make, thanks to his psychological manipulation. And he was right, as Bellamy would continue to fight Luffy even after being freed, in an attempt to follow through with honoring the man he had pledged his allegiance to, even though he had openly realized that he had made the wrong decision in a mentor. Claiming he knows just how pitiful he is, but that even losers have their principles to follow. Luffy is forced to defeat him a second time with a single punch, though this time reluctantly. But before the final blow, Bellamy thanks Luffy for calling him a friend and expressing a certain level of satisfaction of being defeated by the only man besides Dofi he has ever respected. After his defeat, Bellamy was taken to Kuro's house to recover along with Luffy. When he awoke, he asked Law, like, yo, why was I saved? Law responded it was because Luffy considered him a friend. In the final moments of the arc, Bellamy witnesses the formation of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, and although he wouldn't join officially, he did take a piece of Luffy's newly made beaver card, just in case he might need it, meaning we will most likely be seeing him again before the end of the series.
I did not know that.
In the cover story featuring the adventures of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, he is now an apprentice dyer and is seen drawing a Jolly Roger. I think this is honorable, and this peaceful, normal life is the best case ending for Bellamy after all he's been through, and honestly, I wish him well. Next, we have Enel, whatever you call him. I do have a question. Did he even actually lose? I mean, I know he lost to Luffy in battle, but he does still succeed in achieving his plan. After the Sky Island arc, in his cover story, we learned that he did make it to the moon, achieving his dream and even became a space emperor. To make Eneru's story short, he was born on Burka of the Sky Islands, which he would destroy with his Goro Goro no Mi powers. He would then proceed to take over Skypiea with the ultimate goal of reaching Fairy Birth, aka the moon, via his massive airship built from the Shandorian's gold. Yes, he did have a god complex, but it was kind of justified. He was actually stronger than pretty much everyone without even trying. And he basically discovered how to use Haki on his own before even us, the readers, even knew what it was. And if Luffy wasn't made out of his natural enemy, who knows what would have happened. In the aforementioned cover story, we learned that after his defeat by Luffy, he still made it to the moon on the airship after yelling he will never be defeated. Upon reaching the moon, he encounters a robot named First Lieutenant Spacey, and unintentionally powers it up with electricity instead of harming it. He then learns that Spacey and his friends are fighting some space pirates, with the goal of getting vengeance on them for taking the life of the creator, Professor Tsukimi, after they caused an explosion on the moon that took his life. Shortly after, as Spacey is mourning his fallen comrades, Enel sees him getting attacked by space pirates. The space pirates also attack him, but Enel easily defeats them. He then sees a massive explosion take place on the moon and gets angry that the space pirates are ruining his precious Fairy Birth. So he decides to defeat all of them. Spacey tries to thank Enel for defeating the space pirates, but Enel zaps him too. He continues to explore and finds a cavern. After entering, he discovers an ancient abandoned city hidden beneath the lunar surface. He attempts to destroy the city with his electricity powers, but accidentally reactivates it in its robotic inhabitants. These newly awakened robots and the space creatures pledge allegiance to Enel. He then discovers the history of the Hidden Kingdom painted on the wall, which also reveals his people's moon origins and the city's connection to its homeland. The name of the moon city is revealed to be Burka, just like where Enel is from. At the end of the cover story, Enel accepts his role as Space Emperor of the Moon. This makes him one of the first One Piece characters in our timeline to fully achieve their dreams, and we know how important dreams are in One Piece, so I'm sure this will be important later on in the story. As for me, it feels like Eneru's whole story feels like an excuse for Oda to foreshadow and drop lore bombs. But let me know in the comments, do you think we'll
I just think it's crazy when it's like you're a bad guy and you actually do bad things, but they turn out to be good things, and it's like, I don't know, I guess it could lead to some kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say conflict in your mind, like, you know, if you're planning on taking over anyways, but I don't know. Yeah, that type of thing, like, oh, it was actually a good thing, but meant to, like, you know what I'm saying?
Never again in the main story. And will any of this moon lore tie into the Straw Hats Adventures? Next we have Lucci, the massacre weapon. Rob Lucci arguably has one of the best fights in the series and was one of Oda's most successful switcheroos, but recently his threat level kind of fell off. Back in Water 7, it was thanks to him pushing Luffy to his limit that we got the awesome Gear 2 scene, but Oda kind of made it very clear on Egghead that he isn't even close to Luffy's current power level, so he keeps trying to do anything to get his revenge. Basically, Luffy hurt his pride and he never recovered. We learned during the Water arc that Lucci and his friends became a part of CP0. We next see Lucci and Kaku during the Egghead Island arc, where Lucci kinda has a rematch with Luffy, and then is paired up against Zoro, making it clear that he isn't on Luffy's level. He has awakened his Devil Fruit, which means he has been training, but I feel like the Straw Hats are power sculpt past him as a threat. And even during his fight with Zoro, many feel that Zoro has the edge. Get it? Like a sword's edge? Zoro's a swordman?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Never mind. Moria's fall to Luffy's hands, and really just his overall...
Nah, but the Lucci or Zoro thing, yeah, that pair was crazy because it was like, dang, he gave a matchup to the captain now. Like, you're paired with number 2, and he's satisfied. So, you know what? You know, you became a great bounty. You know, I'm trying to make an excuse for it. So, hey, even you have a great bounty, all right? So, like, you'll be just as good. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like he's basically saying, like, at this point, you're a Silver's Rayleigh, you know what I'm saying, to Gold D. Rogers. So, you'll be just as good taking in. You know what I'm saying? So, I was like, whatever helps you sleep at night, bro. You feel me? Well, that helps you sleep at night. But yeah, I just thought like witnessing that in real time was like, whoa, heck nah, bro. I was like, I mean, Kaku. I mean, of course he fights Sanji next. You know what I'm saying? So it's like downplay the hierarchy scale ladder. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got bumped down, man. Like.
Story is sadder than people realize. He was
down
finally
to the
ready
G
to
League.
give his dream another go. After years of a hiatus because of his loss to Kaido back in the day, but the Straw Hats ruined his plans. He is then humiliated during Marineford, and later his comrade was killed by Blackbeard. Blackbeard tried to invite him to join his crew, however Moria refuses, proving he's got some backbone, but becomes Blackbeard's prisoner. Moria has taken so many L's in his story, but Thriller Bark is still one of my favorite arcs. That's right, I said it, come for me in the comments. Following Moria, we have Charlos, the celestial scumbag. Charlos' knockout should win an award for being the most satisfying punch in anime history. I rewatched this scene countless times, and it's just as beautiful every time.
Did his glass thing fly off?
I rewatched.
What are those glass things? Are they glass? They're bubbles.
Times, and it's just as beautiful every time.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for.
For those of you who don't know, most celestial dragons are just horrible people. Slavery, kidnapping, murder, and even SA. They all pretty much suck. But Charlos is the worst of the worst. But because it is forbidden to even think negatively about celestial dragons, he is used to getting away with it. So when Luffy punches him so hard, he transcends color animation into the black and white dimension. It just felt so good. Even though it summoned the wrath of an admiral and hundreds of marines, it was worth it. This was such a reckless move by Luffy that even the other supernovas were like, damn, Straw Hat really is a wild boy like we heard. Proving Charlos is just as dumb as he looks. He didn't learn his lesson. At the next reverie, he tries to make sure Orochi his slave. Her brothers try to save her, but their guard dog Rob Lucci is there, so they can't really do anything. Also, it probably would have resulted in their whole country being zapped off the map, like Lucia Kingdom and God Valley. Luckily, the celestial goat, Mousegard, one-shots him and apologizes in his stead. Later, he once again tries to get his hands on Shiroroshi, and this time by riding Kuma, which is just a whole tragedy on its own. But Leo and Sai stop him, not caring about the consequences, doing Luffy proud as a part of his grand fleet. They even managed to get away with whacking a celestial dragon thanks again to Mosgard, but unfortunately this time it would cost him his life, as he is executed for not taking the side of a celestial dragon. But in our eyes, he will always be a hero. Okay, Hody Jones is basically the byproduct of all the horrible things the Fishmen have ever experienced, and also a result of the events of Arlong's defeat, which is why it was so important to go into so much detail about Arlong. Basically, Arlong's story inspired a new group of human haters called the New Fishmen Pirates. They was all kinds of crazy, but served as great fodder to show off how strong the Straw Hats have gotten post-timeskip. The best example of this being when Zoro and Sanji was arguing over who's going to take out the most enemies, and Luffy just sauces past them and Conqueror Hockey's 50,000 of them out of commission, leaving everyone flabbergasted, except Zoro, who was like, yeah, he better be able to do that, or I would have to be the captain. The arc ends with their main crewmen overdosing on magic fish steroids. Would be the captain. The arc ends with their main crewmen overdosing on magic fish steroids, which then speeds up their aging process, turning them into like old, frail raisin people. I'm not sure if they passed away or not, but I consider their story done, and we probably won't ever see them again. That being said, I still feel that the Fishman Island arc was extremely necessary and is underrated. Don Chow, Caribou, and Scissor the Clown are all characters that are pretty important, because after Luffy beats them, they eventually help out the Straw Hats in various ways, some willingly and some not so willingly. But thank you for willingly watching my video and helping me accomplish my own dreams of becoming the Pirate King of YouTube. The like goal for this video will be 101 likes. Don Quixote Doflamingo, aka the Joker, aka the Drip God. Dofy might be the most important villain we have ever met, and I don't think a lot of people realize just how much his presence can still be felt in the story. But let me know if you think I'm exaggerating. Dofy is one of the most successful pirates in pirate history. Before his run-in with our rubbery friend, he had wealth, power, and fame. He has both ruled countries as a sanctioned warlord and controlled the underworld as a kingpin of an intricate crime syndicate. But the best thing about Dofy is every time we see him, there's a good chance we're going to get some juicy forbidden lore. Thanks to his Celestial Dragon background and his infatuation with watching the world burn. Just rewatch or read the things he said at Dressrosa, Marineford, or even while being locked up in Impel Down. And with his connections to law, the world government, as well as several legendary pirates, I have no doubt that he will make his saucy reappearance.
Is that a movie?
Marineford, or even while being locked up in Impel Down. And with his connections to law, the world government, as well as several legendary pirates, I have no doubt that he will make his saucy reappearance soon. I have a feeling that he will be somehow associated with the Cross Guild. When we see him after his loss to Luke, he is in the infamous level 6 of Impel Down, where he was even chained to the floor just in case, but they didn't dare touch his iconic glasses. He starts speaking about revolutions, that the Celestial Dragons will be dragged down from their lofty perch soon, and he just seems seemingly excited that things are about to get interesting.
Yeah, I forgot what he said right there. Hold on, let me see all that again. My bad, y'all. I'm going to read this real quick because I forgot what he said. Because, yeah, tell that to those nobles up in Merrywa. Maybe they better be prepared to be dragged off their high horses. Gold Roger became the first to cross the Grand Line 25 years ago. Now, and the rival Whitebeard chose not to take his place but on the throne, but to bow before it. But what happens now? The numbers of pirates have fluctuated so much. There's only one throne. You get it, don't you?
Lofty perch soon. And he just seems seemingly excited that things are about to get interesting. Proof about just how dangerous Dofy's knowledge is, if there have been any assassins.
Did they send an assassin here to shut me up in order to prevent me from telling anyone about the secret treasure hidden in Merrywa? Isn't it fine to reveal what it is already? Power degrades quickly anyway. It rots away in no time at all.
Assassins who have come to try and silence him, because he simply knows too much about the secrets of the One Piece world, the treasure of Marijois, the truth about the Will and D, and just so much more. I can't wait for his return to the fold, as he is my favorite villain in case you couldn't tell by my avatar. Katakuri, the Donut enthusiast. His defeat to Luffy is one of the most debated fights in Luffy's career. Some people feel that His defeat to Luffy is one of the most debated fights in Luffy's career. Some people feel that Katakuri could or should have won, but we will open that can of worms another day. Luffy did also fold Cracker and a couple other fodder during this arc, but his fight with Katakuri taught him so much, and is one of the most important in the series. Honestly, we should all thank Katakuri for speaking.
I mean, honestly, it was still a tight battle through and through. Either way. Oh my god.
Luffy's hockey training by decades. He would then somewhat defeat Big Mom as well, especially if you get your news from Big News Morgan. But her actual defeat wouldn't come till later, and it wasn't to Luffy. After the Straw Hats leave Whole Cake, Lin gets pissed off about what the newspaper said about the whole Cake incident, so she chases the Straw Hats to Wano and forms an alliance with her ex-crewman Kaido.
I don't get why she never went after Morgan's and told him to change the story. It's like, yo, that's not what actually happened. I'm like, what? But I guess.
Somewhat resurgence of the Rock's pirates,
prove
which
yourself.
scares the crap out of the Marines. We now arrive at Luffy's biggest battle of the Rock's pirates, which scares
Mom and Kaido and all their younger years.
about what the newspaper said about the whole cake incident. So she chases the Straw Hats to Wano and forms an alliance with her ex-crewman Kaido, a somewhat resurgence of the Rock's pirates, which scares the crap out of the Marines. We now arrive at Luffy's biggest, baddest, and most important victim, Kaido the Beast, who is called the strongest creature alive. Legend has it, if it's a one-on-one,
I love that part right there.
Called the strongest creature alive. Legend has it, if it's a one-on-one, always bet on Kaido. And even though he eventually lost, that legend still holds true, because honestly, they jumped Kaido a few times. But I still feel Luffy earned his dub, and gained Kaido's respect, as we see a panel of Luffy through Kaido's eyes. And Luffy's aura reminds Kaido of the few truly legendary pirates he has met, like Go Roger and Rock Savet. The most important thing to me is Kaido did live up to the hype, and without him, Luffy wouldn't have awakened his ability, and even be on the level that he
Honestly, I'm still mad at that CP0 agent, bro, because I wanted to see who come out of those final blows, man. Oh my god, bro. Before Luffy went Gear 5, you know what I'm saying? I swear, if that CP0 agent, because I swear even the animation for that was dope, man, where they were flying at each other, bro. Kaido and his crazy dragon form and stuff, man. The way they was looking at each other, I was like, yes. And then that motherfucker was running there. I was like, no. I really want to see if Luffy would have won that fucking, like no bars held, bro. Like, I'm saying, like, you know, if he didn't have that form, that Gear 5 form, what would have really happened, bro? What would have really happened? I'm mad till this day, bro. I was like, no. I mean, yes, I like the Gear 5 form. I like that he beat him in Gear 5 and all that, but I'm like, bro, I wanted him to go beast all out in his Gear 4 form, bro. Just like, oh my god, the hype, like, oh, jeez, my adrenaline's raising just talking about it, bro. It's like, oh my god, the way it was, like, about to throw the final blows, man.
needs to be at to enter the final race for the One Piece against the likes of titans like Shanks and Blackbeard. This feat is what officially gets Luffy named the Emperor of the Sea. The last time we see Kaido, he is sinking into the lava from the force of Luffy's punch, and he is presumed dead. But this wasn't the only body Luffy caught on Wano. Because I don't care what anybody says, the fodder that Luffy elephant gunned for spilling the red bean soup is gone. He did not make it. But if you made it to the end of this video,
He
comment
did not
banana.
make it. Alright, you guys, so that was The Victims of Monkey D. Luffy by the channel Pirate Diaries, man. Well put together video, you feel me? But yeah, man, this is a good ass compilation, man. I just got caught up in specifying the hype of Kaido versus Gear 4 Luffy, man. I'm like, bro, because I swear, bro, Kaido looked like he was going all out, putting all his power into it. Luffy, of course, putting all his power. I swear he came up with like a new move they just used twice against Kaido, bro. The one he just used before he went straight at him for that CP0 agent interfered, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just used, like, it was like some type of fucking, like, gorilla fucking, you know what I'm saying? Gorilla gun or something, nah, something like that, bro. Oh my, it was a new move, bro. A new move, like he just used it, like this is his second time in a row using it. Like, you know what I'm saying, trading final blows with each other. Kaido going all out, Luffy, you know, using this a newly just said move. I know it's a newly said move, you know what I'm saying, for like 2 times in a row to end. I'm like, bro, both going all out. I need this. But, I mean, of course, I read the manga, but damn, the animation was so good. It made me wish that the manga, you know what I'm saying, that like it didn't follow the manga or some shit, bro. Because of course I see Rizzo agent ran it down. I'm just like, oh, why you do me like this? I felt so sad. I need them to, man, to hit each other, bro. Man, but yeah, y'all let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section down below. Y'all know it's Boomer and Jared watching Bali Star. Make sure to leave a like, support the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new. So now we join up with the All-Star gang up in this thing. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. 100. Ooh!
Yeah.